Hey guys, welcome to the studio. Another video, come on in. And this one's going to be pretty controversial. I can pretty much guarantee that. And it's because I want to tell you what's the best equipment for your studio, what's the best software. I'm going to cover it all. Basically, I can do this in just a couple of minutes. I'm going to tell you for your home studio, what is the best that you really need to have to outfit your home studio. And first of all, I realize that basically most of the people watching these videos are musicians or artists or home recordists, and I gear this towards the home recordists. I'm not obviously gearing this towards the big boy pro studios. They've got their own agenda and quite frankly are in a different league. But I want to address that issue right off the bat, that being a musician myself for a long time, I know that musicians pretty much are about the most opinionated species on the planet, and they will argue what's the best mic, what's the best guitar strings, what's the best guitar, what's the best recording software, what are the best plugins, and generally it really is defending their home base. They'll buy something and that becomes the best, and it's very rare that you'll see a musician, unless he thinks, well, I'm just a totally honest musician and I buy something and then he says this is just utterly garbage or whatever. But usually what the musician owns is almost the best. People say, what's the best mic that you can get? They'll tell you the mics that they own. They'll ask you what the best software is. They'll say, well, I use this software. And by the way, I use Cakewalk Sonar Platinum. It's a great software. But at any rate, so they're pretty much just endorsing the stuff that they already have. The recording scene has changed dramatically over the years. When I first started out, you had the reel-to-reels, TAC 4-tracks, the 3340S, and that was making it possible for musicians to go ahead and multi-track in their home. And then, of course, Tascam came out with their whole lines of Porter Studios, and Roland had their little units. And, of course, a lot of competitors with Atari and Decorder and Fostex. But once it moved into the computer, that really just changed things. And there's been a growing process with that as well. But at this point in time, 2015, winter 2015, I think the products available to musicians now are just such high caliber that really the line between professional and home or consumer is really, there really isn't much of a distinction, except the consumer stuff costs a lot less and generally has a lot less features. In other words, you're going to buy a consumer audio interface for a couple $100, and that'll have 2 or 4 mic inputs on it, where the pro one will cost you $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000, $6,000, have 16 mic preamps on it or inputs, and made of the highest caliber materials, generally very good. But the sound wise, getting back to that, is, I think in most instances, is going to be pretty indistinguishable, especially when you get into the range of components and microphones that are in the quote consumer range. You're not really going to hear a big difference, unless obviously you're going to use a different type of mic. If I put up a condenser mic versus my RE20 here, my dynamic mic, sure, you'll hear a difference. And so there's the aspects of using the right mics and that sort of thing. But I think the best software really is what you're most comfortable with. If you have a friend that says, hey, I use Cakewalk Sonar Platinum, and you liked it, then that's probably going to be your best software. If you like Reaper and think that, that's a great deal, it's only $60, and you've been using it for a while and you know the ins and outs of it, that's going to be your best software. If you hate PCs, then you're going to like stuff like Logic, or you're going to go ahead and migrate into the Pro Tools camp. But it doesn't really matter, because I think these products, if you can hear the difference between a Pro Tools, between Samplitude, between Logic, Cubase, Sonar, Reaper, there is no audio difference. It's basically just the workflow in those workstations. And so like I say, continue being a musician. Have your opinions, because a wishy-washy musician isn't very entertaining to the public. But I think, you know, use what you like. That's going to be the best. If you buy something and it is junk, and quite frankly, there's some junk out there, so watch some of that. But you know, even companies like Behringer and stuff like that are really starting to put out some good products. Art puts out some good products, where 15 years ago they pretty much were junk. But the stuff is definitely usable in a home studio. So I imagine there's probably a couple of stragglers that are still hanging on listening to me in this video. And that's to be expected potentially, because, you know, this is my opinion, big deal. But quite frankly, it's the truth. You know, it's what's the best equipment, what's the best guitar, what's the best guitar strings, that's all opinion. And I'm just here to climb on my soapbox again and to tell you that in my book, that's fact. It's not opinion. We'll check you in the next video, guys. Thanks for hanging on to the end.